Mario Galaxy was a massive success, both critically and financially. Its innovative gameplay and levels were praised as second to none, the music was superb, and it introduced Rosalina. What's not to love? Well, while players were left satisfied, the Galaxy team was not, and they had a boatload of unused ideas that had to be cut due to time, but they didn't let that stop them. Shortly after the first game, development began on a follow-up tentatively titled Super Mario Galaxy More, as instead of a sequel, they initially intended to make DLC for Galaxy. Two problems with that. The Wii had very little internal storage, and asking your fans to go out to buy a large enough SD card was too much. That and the amount of ideas that they had quickly outgrew the expansion idea, and thus it was decided to make, for the first time ever, a direct sequel to a 3D Mario game. Thus, on May 23rd, 2010, Super Mario Galaxy 2 would launch on the Wii, and just like the first game, would be deemed yet another one of Mario's greats. In fact, I think the fan response to this game was greater than the first, probably thanks to Yoshi. Hell, just me seeing this game in action made me want to play both it and Galaxy 1, although oddly, I find myself revisiting the first game more than the sequel. I genuinely wonder why that's the case. It might have something to do with Nintendo re-releasing Galaxy 1 more often than Galaxy 2, but at the same time, maybe there's more to it. Galaxy 2 does have more content, like way more than the first game, not to mention there's more variety here than in Galaxy 1 in terms of levels and challenges, but then again, quantity doesn't necessarily equate to quality. Well, it has been over 15 years since Galaxy 2 released, and with the Mario Galaxy movie now out, for better or for worse, I think it's a great time to soar back into Mario's 3D career and take a good hard look at Super Mario Galaxy 2, so I can tell you why I think, in spite of what all this game does, it is not a perfect sequel. So, just like last time, I'm playing this on the Switch 2 through the game's official remaster. On top of a higher resolution and improved textures, it does also add an assist mode and amiibo support. There is something else this remaster adds, but I'll save that for later. So here's something that'll give you a kick. This game's story is an abridged version of Galaxy 1's plot. Yes, they somehow managed to abridge a Mario story. Mario comes across this baby Luma who speaks in PlayStation, who then goes into Mario, once again granting him access to the spin attack. We then soon find Bowser, who has been eating his fucking Wheaties, and kidnaps Princess Peach as he plans to have her bake him a galaxy-sized cake. I do hope that's the only thing he plans on doing and not actually having something like another kid, because, you know, otherwise... Soon after, Mario is once again blasted off into outer space for his second cosmic adventure. Yeah, this is a way simpler setup than in Galaxy 1. Apparently this was at the request of Miyamoto, who didn't like the larger narrative Galaxy 1 had, which, like, my dude, yeah, sure, it's more complex for a Mario game, but it ain't nowhere near as something like Sonic Adventure 2 in terms of levels of complexity. The setup for this game, I feel, can actually be applied to the entire game in terms of describing it. Simpler. We still have 120 power stars to collect spread across multiple galaxies. The catch is that instead of like Galaxy 1, where most galaxies had either 1 or 6 stars to collect, Galaxy 2 makes it so that every galaxy has either 2 or 3 stars. What this means is that there are way more galaxies to play in than in the first game, which is an absolute joy. The strong suit of Galaxy 1 was the sheer creativity on display. Sure, there were some safe levels here and there, but they really let the creative juices flow with that game, which got my juices flowing as well. Galaxy 2 carries that on and makes a fucking home run with it. Yeah, sure, there are once again some safe galaxies, but I think the fact that within the first area is something like Flip Switch Galaxy, a galaxy where these platforms will flip whenever you spin, is a sign of things to come. Once again, you collect your first power star by murdering an unborn child. Who knew that Mario supported him? We then get taken to this piece of shit starship led by Lubba, who is, in fact, a woman.
That's a woman?
She offers to use the power of the star that we obtained to transform this place into Starship Mario. In exchange for more power stars, she'll continue in aiding us in rescuing Peach. So, I'll be honest up front, I think this is the weakest hub area of any Mario game. It's no Peach's Castle, it's not Delfino Plaza, it's certainly no Comet Observatory. Sure, it's more compact, which means it is quicker to traverse, but I like it when my hub worlds feel grand or like something you could actually live in. I don't see a bed on Starship Mario, and given the reduced scale, it definitely ain't grand. That's not to say that there isn't stuff to do here. You can interact with these die to get star bits or additional lives, not to mention the further you progress in the game, more creatures get added to the starship, like these gear robots, wood, a fucking bomb, and the Toad Brigade, who I completely forgot to talk about in the previous video. Yeah, these guys make their debut in the Galaxy games, and they all have distinctive personalities, such as Nerd, Mailman, Jeff Bezos, Narcolepsy, and Captain Toad. It's kind of wild to think that Captain Toad originates from these games looking back. It's even crazier to think that this somehow led to Captain Toad Treasure Tracker on the Wii U. I'm not even gonna begin to try and connect those dots. I frankly don't have the brain power to do so. I've also never played that game, so I don't even know what it's about now that I think about it. Another big change from Galaxy 1 is how you select galaxies. Instead of domes, you just select the galaxy that you want to play in through the world map. I'll be honest, this too is another change that I'm not really fond of. I mean, functionally, it is the same as Galaxy 1, just simplified down to something that longtime Mario fans can understand, a map. But I feel like it just doesn't have the same charm as the domes did in Galaxy 1. I do at least appreciate the world backdrops in this game, although, why are they called worlds when they host galaxies? Are the worlds like clusters of galaxies and they're so far apart from each other? That would explain why we need the Grand Stars to open wormholes. In order to reach those Grand Stars, we need the necessary amount of Power Stars for Starship Mario to progress, and these are once again obtained through galaxies. These will require us to partake in various platforming challenges, ranging from utilizing Mario's various moves, or even power-ups, quite a few of which return from Galaxy 1. Let's see here, we have the Fire Flower, which burns out quickly once again, Bee Mario, who no longer finds it hip, Boo Mario, who is used so little it's scary, and Spring Mario, who fortunately is only used for like one level in the entire game, and I am glad because the less I have to use it, the better. There are a few new power-ups that Mario can find as well, perhaps the most prominent of which is the Cloud Flower. This gives Mario 3 cloud platforms that he can just place down by spinning, which you can use in some fun and creative ways to circumvent level obstacles. There is also the Rock Mushroom, which will turn Mario into a boulder and allow him to roll around. The thing is that it's kind of awkward to steer. It's very hard to actually control him once he's rolling. They do use this for some bowling minigames, and that's fine, but I'm sorry, this is no Wii bowling. There is one more, and I completely forgot to write this down in the script, so I'm just gonna fucking wing it. It's a drill. It's kind of self-explanatory. You shake the Wii remote, you drill through stuff, drill. Of course, the biggest addition to this game is everyone's favorite tax evader, Yoshi. He was actually planned for Galaxy 1, but had to be scrapped due to time constraints. Well, not this time, and Yoshi is just as fun to control as you would expect. He has his flutter jump, and you can betray his trust and jump off of him for some extra jump height, you fucking monster. Your cursor also can be used to target fruits and enemies with Yoshi's tongue, which will even let you lock onto 3 things to eat in quick succession. Yoshi even gets some power-ups of his own, like the Bulb Berry, which just makes Yoshi glow. It's used in like 2 galaxies, it just shows invisible platforms. The Dash Pepper turns Yoshi into a speeding bullet who is capable of running up walls and shit. It can be a bit unruly to control, but I like it. It makes me think that I'm playing a Sonic game, and god, that is scary to say given the next 3 games I'm going to be looking at. Oh, god help me. The final Yoshi power-up is the Blimp Fruit, which inflates Yoshi like a balloon. This is someone's fetish, isn't it? I mean, to be fair, this is useful in the sections that it's needed, it's just... oh boy. Unfortunately, something that is once again true for all the power-ups in this game is that they are all situational, except it feels even worse here. There are only a handful of levels that offer you power-ups, and when they do, it's only for one purpose, and that's it. I didn't think it was possible to surpass the Vanish cap in terms of situationalness, but by god they did it, and I think this game suffers as a result. Mario and Yoshi fortunately aren't the only playable characters in this, as in certain levels you can actually find and swap to Luigi if you fancy his higher jump and push port traction. Completing a level as the green guy also leaves behind this ghost that you can race whenever you return to the galaxy and try to improve your time. It's actually neat that they do incentivize returning to levels, and this isn't the only thing that'll entice you to return to galaxies. Prankster Comets once again return, but in order for a Prankster Comet to show up on a certain galaxy, you will need to collect that galaxy's comet medal first. I don't like these things. So first off, the fact that they took something that worked just fine in the background in Galaxy 1 and made it so that it now required a new collectible to unlock just feels like the definition of padding. You can only find these things in the first mission of a galaxy, and they aren't super hidden either, especially in a lot of levels that are just straight lines in terms of progression. As for the Prankster Comets themselves, they once again can be divided into different stereotypes. Quite a few of which return from the first game, but some have also been remixed. The Cosmic Clones, for example, now spawn endlessly and will copy your every move, requiring you to choose your moves carefully so that you don't, smack into one of them. The Speedster Comet returns as well, and now has two different versions. One that places a general time limit on you, and one that gives you 30 seconds to finish the mission. No, it's not that bad. They give you clocks along the way that you can collect to add 10 seconds back to the timer. The Daredevil Comet returns and is exactly the same as it was in the previous game. Also, the Fast Foe Comet comes back and is actually used a little bit more now. I think the beat block galaxy is what comes to mind, as it makes the blocks change in double time, which can fuck you up if you don't have any sense of rhythm. There's even this more arcade-like comet that'll require you to defeat all of the enemies on a planetoid within a time limit. Speaking of arcade-like missions, this game actually has quite a few of them. Early on, you encounter this guy, the Chimp, who can challenge Mario to score attack missions in various galaxies. These can range from challenges where you have to stomp on enemies and collect coins to rack up points. There's also this ice skating minigame where you whack these inflatables to accrue points. It's neat, and fortunately, none of them really utilize motion controls. Speaking of which, there are less motion control based levels than there were in Galaxy 1, with the only returning style being the rolling ball, and I think it's just because realistically that was the only one where they could actually make a new and unique interesting level. There is a brand new motion control style here, that being gliding with Fluzzard. I don't like Fluzzard. I swear I have a lot of trouble controlling this bird. I don't know quite how to describe it. It's one of those things where you have to experience it in order to understand it, but it just feels awkward compared to the manta ray surfing, probably due to the fact that you're in full 3D movement and not just tilting left and right. I think I should also talk about some of the levels in specific now. This game loves blue skies. Like, I think there's more than the regular starry space skies than there were in the first game. These levels are also a lot more linear than they were in Galaxy 1. Rarely is there a level in this game that will actually have you explore an open area, as there are a fair share of levels that are just get from point A to point B with no wiggle room. Slowly but surely, 3D Mario is becoming more and more like the 2D games, and if you know what comes next after this one, yeah, it's kind of scary looking back. This game is like staring into the mouth of the beast that would strip away everything that 3D Mario originally was. At the very least, unlike that game, these levels are actually memorable, so they did a good job in that regard. Hightail Falls Galaxy is a fun level requiring precise use of Dash Yoshi. Supermassive Galaxy is fun just because, well, any Mario level where the gimmick is everything is huge is just fun by default. There's also this Starshine Beach Galaxy. Well, that's a neat name for a level. It feels like it's almost calling back to, oh god, they're colonizing space! No, we gotta nip this in the bud before it gets worse. Shiverburn Galaxy is just an inferior imitation of Freeze Flame Galaxy, I will not be taking questions, which also has these ghostly creatures watching you in the distance. I think these things are referred to as Hell Valley Sky Trees in the game files. I wonder what that's about. Anyway, World 6 probably has some of the most difficult galaxies in the game, and what's this? Throwback Galaxy? Excuse me, I appear to have developed a nostalgia boner and must bust a fat nut really quick. It's kind of interesting to think, but this game does call back to the previous 3D Mario games quite a bit. Like, this isn't the only example. The callbacks are mostly reserved for the post-game World S. This world primarily consists of levels from past 3D Mario games. The 8-bit Mario from Toy Time and the Thwomp and Toxbox planet from Beach Bowl are just straight up reused as short little galaxies here. Not to mention the Boss Blitz Galaxy, which is just straight up a boss rush where you rematch 5 bosses from Galaxy 1. They even pull from Sunshine as Twisty Trials Galaxy, is just straight up the Rico Harbor secret level, except you get Cloud Mario. I suppose I should talk about the boss galaxies. I am kind of skipping a page here. There are 6 boss galaxies in total, with 1 acting as the finale to each of the 6 main worlds. These bosses are fun, albeit they can be a bit disturbing to think about. Looking back, I mean, Gobblegut, and here's Bellyache Bulges. This just feels wrong for some reason. There's also these 2 mechs that you have to fight, both of which are piloted by Bowser Jr. Mega Hammer and the Boomsday Machine. Not Doomsday, Boomsday. Honestly, neither of these are super hard, which is good because both of them have Daredevil comets tied to them. Yes, even the boss galaxies now have Prankster comets. The other boss galaxies you'll encounter are the Bowser galaxies. These are just pure platforming challenges that will do everything to test Mario. These can definitely be some of the more difficult levels in the game, with quite a few insta-kill scenarios, like Whomps finally making the return for Mario 64. These are probably some of the more deadly Bowser levels in the series, on par with, say, the castles from Mario World. As for the Bowser fights themselves, they're absolutely different than they were in the first game, given Bowser's gargantuan size now. You run around this planet while Bowser orbits from above, with him throwing down punches, breathing fire, and summoning these meteors that when he punches the ground, the shock from which will break the meteors open to reveal their golden interior, which you ground pound into Bowser. It's nothing too difficult until maybe the final battle. Before we get to that final battle, I say we talk about this game's music. Galaxy 2 once again sports a full-on orchestra, and it is utilized a lot more than it was in the first game. Nearly every piece of music is orchestrated this time. Of course, I would say Yoshi Star Galaxy's music is one of the best highlights for me. While I don't think much of the hub world itself, I actually do like the full version of Starship Mario's theme. One last one I want to talk about is the orchestral remix of Koopa's Road from Mario 64, and it ends up being my second favorite version of the song, especially when the choir comes in. After a long journey, we finally reach Bowser's base of operations, Bowser's Galaxy Generator, where we witness it sucking away the power of a familiar-looking comet. So Mario wastes no time and flies into the gargantuan galaxy. This galaxy will require the usage of multiple power-ups for us to get through, even Yoshi at a later point, truly testing Mario to his absolute limits. At the end, we have our final encounter with Bowser. Now, thankfully, this fight is just a more aggressive version of the previous 2 Bowser battles. Even with the shockwaves that get sent out by the meteors and when Bowser punches the planet, it doesn't make it super difficult, and after 4 hits to the cock, Bowser pukes up the final Grand Star and falls into the void below. That is until he comes back, devours the Grand Star, and declares that this will be the end of Mario as he roars, sending Mario flying into these gold meteors that we then have to smash into Bowser to send him back into the void. All the while, we have the most epic piece of music in the entire game playing, and it's done! What? It's done. The fight's done. What do you mean it's done? Your fight against Bowser, you beat him, he's done. What do you mean? The fight just started! Not anymore it is, poof. Nintendo, buddy, chum pal. What the fuck is this? Why? is the final boss's second phase easier than his first? Why would you go through all this effort making one of the most awesome setups for a final boss in the entire franchise, only for it to be the quickest and easiest thing in the entire game? That logic doesn't check out to me. You see how it doesn't check out to me, right? You can finish this fight before the music even loops. You know this, right? Anyway, final boss shenanigans aside, Bowser is gone and Peach comes flying in on the final Grand Star as we waste no time in collecting it. Mario and Peach return to Starship Mario, where the comet that Bowser's base was giving the good suck to reveals itself as Rosalina's Comet Observatory. She thanks us for stopping Bowser and for reuniting her with the baby Luma, who then flies off the observatory with Mario's hat still in hand, much to Mario's dismay. But with that, the observatory flies back off into space with Mario, Peach, and Lubba returning to the Mushroom Kingdom so that Peach can bake Mario a galaxy-sized cake, ending Super Mario Galaxy 2. Of course, when you return to the game, quite a few things are unlocked, such as the ability to swap between Mario and Luigi here on the Starship, although unfortunately, this doesn't change the Starship into Starship Luigi Get Fucked Green Mario. You also unlock World S, which has like 2 original galaxies that aren't from a previous game. Flip Out Galaxy seems hard, but truth be told, it's actually kind of easy if you know how to utilize the spin in conjunction with wall jumps. There is also the Rolling Coaster Galaxy, which I think is the first time any of the mainline Mario games have referenced Mario Kart, since this is obviously a huge nod to Rainbow Road. There should be one other thing that's fully unlocked by this point in the game, although only if you're playing on the remaster, that being the storybook. So the storybook was added into the Galaxy 2 remaster, and it's actually different from the storybook in Galaxy 1, as where Galaxy 1's storybook detailed Rosalina's backstory, the storybook here in Galaxy 2 details Lubba's backstory. It's kind of neat to get to learn more about this character. It's kind of upsetting though, because Lubba doesn't really return after this game, but it is nice that, for the remaster at least, we do get additional background information on a character that ultimately just doesn't come back. So with that, every galaxy is now available to us, meaning that all of the stars are now obtainable, and as you approach that goal, eventually green Lumas will begin to appear on Starship Mario and hint at something greater should you go out of your way to collect all of the power stars. And once you've collected all 120 power stars and beat the final boss of Disappointment again, you'll be treated to this cutscene of Rosalina and the library, where she'll then tell the Lumas the story of the cosmic jewels, the green stars. The next time you boot up the game, every level will have a green prankster comet fly past it, repopulating all of those levels with green stars, doubling the star count. Now let me tell you, if you thought that the comet medals seemed like padding, then Jesus Christ, the green stars are the fucking definition of the word. All that these amount to is extra stars that are hidden at specific places in all of the galaxies. Some, fortunately, can be found near the start of a galaxy, while others will have you play through nearly the entire level just to find the green star. This game already was just fine as it is. These weren't necessary in my opinion, but it's made worse by the fact that you have to collect all of these just to unlock the true final level, the Grand Master Galaxy, and I ultimately did not. Truth be told, I got very tired of this game. I simply was just burned out playing Galaxy 1 and 2 back to back. It's not a good idea. Don't do it. I really would not recommend doing it because I was struggling trying to keep this game as the center of my attention. I think at this point, I'm just ready to move on from these two games. Super Mario Galaxy 2 doesn't do a whole lot to improve on the first game. Sure, there's more stuff to do, and they do get more wacky with the levels compared to the first game, but I don't know, I feel like the first game had more of a cohesive identity. That's not to say that Galaxy 2 is bad, by no means. I just think I ultimately prefer the first game over this one. Galaxy 2 feels like it throws a bunch of ideas at the wall in hopes that they'll stick, and I'll say about 90% of the time they do. But they also never flesh out those ideas. It's always on to the next galaxy, the next idea. Galaxy 2 does do some good though. Yoshi is always a positive, and the new power-ups that replace some of the old ones are so fun to use and do feel like a natural extension of Mario's abilities when they let you use them. I may prefer Galaxy 1, but at the end of the day, Galaxy 2 is a damn good game that I absolutely think you should give a try. Just don't play it directly after the first game. Well, with the Galaxy games done, I'm ready to move on. As I alluded to earlier, I'm ready to go back to Sonic for the next few videos, but when we do return to Mario, we'll actually be switching gears and going back to the 2D games with the new Super Mario Bros. Series, Mario Maker 1 and 2, and concluding with Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Subscribe to the channel if that sounds fun to you, and leave a like and a comment should you choose. And with all of that said, have a great day or night. Peace.